Good evening. My name is Ash, and this is my co-host Tim. And today we are joined by mixed martial arts royalty in Kung Lee. But that isn't all. We are actually joined by a future legend in the making in his son Anthony Lee. How are you both doing? And is this a bit surreal? You doing a father and son podcast?
Yeah, it's a blessing. We thank God every single day for all of our blessing. Every time we wake up, yeah, it's a new day. We got a roof over our head and food in the refrigerator, and we get to do what we love.
And you know what? We just like to take a minute, just to really. I mean, Kung, you've probably helped thousands of people, but you've definitely helped us. You came on the show when we weren't even like a thing. No one wanted to come on, and you gave us an opportunity to come on, and for that, a lot of doors opened. So thank you so much for that, Kung.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Don't thank me. Thank the Lord. So.
Definitely.
Awesome stuff. Hey, I saw you guys hanging out with Scott Coker recently. Do you have any news for us going down? I see you even wearing a Bellator MMA shirt. Like, are we going to break some news here?
You know what? It's still in the making, and he has a lot of plans for Anthony, and we're just making sure that we're ready for anything that he presents to us, and right now I think Anthony's he's coming along. He's training really hard, and the good thing is since his sophomore year, he's been able to be homeschooled and trained. So he's like full-time training, full-time school, and then focus on God Almighty, and everything else will follow him. So with school and with everything going on in this world, as you can see, I didn't want him to be in school because of all the craziness stuff that's going on. So I kept him out of it, and you don't understand. If all the parents know that their kid's gonna learn and grow and become more mature faster than being in school, I'm telling you, I'm so glad God helped me get Anthony doing homeschool.
Cool stuff. Anthony, tell me a little bit. Last year you won a point Muay Thai competition. I think it was a statewide championship. Tell us a little bit more. What was preparation like? What was the fighting like, and all that kind of good stuff, sir?
So we went to, so basically for that it was kind of rushed. For our first thing on the list was Atlanta for the Sanda bout, and we're like, oh, we got a point Muay Thai. I can become a two-time state champ for them. So I was like, let's have some fun. I trust in my skills and my abilities. We trained really hard, and we put in that work, and we just let God guide everything, and it fell into place. And we went there with a week's camp, and we're like, okay, we're here to handle business, and we just hit what's open, defended what's coming, and God blessed me with the victory and a title. So that's what preparation was like. It was kind of just all out of the blue. It just fell into place.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. Is it? Do you want to kind of fight fairly regularly, Anthony, or you looking to take a little bit of a break after that? What's your schedule looking like in terms of fights? I know you're studying as well, of course.
So I took a year layoff just about from fighting to get closer with God and work on my spiritual and physical health, as well as tighten up my skills. I was dealing with a few injuries as well, so I had to rest a little bit and just tighten up some things in my life and get closer to God. So you guys will hear some fight news soon, and we'll get back in the mix.
Actually, I'm gonna jump on that. So the year that he took off, but we trained hard, right? What I said, hey, it's your last year. You homeschool. I gotta see A's and B's, and if I don't see A's and B's, then I'm not gonna pursue this fight career. We got an understanding, son, and he's all yep, and he sharpened up his pencils and got to work. So he got A's and B's, graduated with A's and B's.
That makes sense. So this is like 2 years ago we did the interview, Kung. I can't believe how quick time has flown since then. And at the time you mentioned that you've had quite a few gray hairs, when you first started training him. Any more gray hairs since?
There's always going to be a lot more gray hairs with the world we live in, but it's I remember when it was more like when I first took him to my old student Rudy Ott's gym, and just because I wasn't running any more gyms, my focus was, at the time I was just focusing on getting spiritual battles going for my wife and her mother-in-law, and we
Yeah.
were just like the backup. We just go there if if they needed us to hold someone down because of an exorcism, then that's our job. But then when we started getting very spiritually connected to the Father, um, uh, you know, these cases were just blown up out of everywhere, and you know, we're like doing exorcisms at the gyms, and people like God sent us on this like mission. First, it was that for his title shot in at the U.S. Opens, and when we went, we like literally were doing exorcisms like on the road. Just people needed our help, and we helped them, and then when we were coming back, we had like a week. Literally, we thought we had a week off to just relax a little bit, and next thing we knew, the state tournament. We weren't paying attention to the Point Muay Thai state tournament, and then we haven't done like anything for like 2.5 weeks, just driving around helping people. And then when we got back, we're like, "Oh, we got a week to train. You want to do this tournament?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so I trained him for a couple of days. I let him recover his body because he was sore, and we just went through game plan. And he went to the state championships and kind of walked through everyone. So I bumped him up into the adult division, got him a fight at the adult division, got him another fight at another division. So he is fighting multiple divisions and winning them all. So it's been a blessing.
So you guys obviously help a lot of people, and it took a lot of time to do that. Do you? Because I just thought of this question, just spurred a moment. Do you get a lot of people just kind of hoaxing you as well? Because you've got a big following. You're fairly, you're a famous guy, Kung. Do you get a lot of people just wasting your time, and you're like, oh, man, what was the point of that?
It's sometimes we have some people that just try to call in and talk, and then the great thing about that is a lot of these people, when they try to waste our time, we bring them to God. And like a lot of these people, they know God, they know Jesus, but they don't really know them, like what they do for them and how much love he has for us and how the Bible is truly unraveling. So a lot of those people, I take it as a blessing in disguise, where the Father sends them to me in this way, and I have to soften my heart to hear them and to
Yeah.
kind of relate to them, and they're just trying to talk to like a fighter to understand or whatever it is. And next thing when we get off the conversation, they're like, "Wow, thank you for that." I'm going to get close to Jesus. I'm going to open up my Bible. So, I feel like it doesn't matter, whoever wants to, talk about something else. But if I get a chance to talk about God, I'm talking about God because, that's what God asked me to do.
Absolutely. Hey, Anthony, let me ask you a question, because I know what it was like watching the career of Cung Le when I was a bit younger. What was watching that like from your perspective, seeing your dad in like Strikeforce and the UFC and stuff like this? Like, you were a young man back then. I was a young man back then. From your perspective, what did that look like?
Oh man, it was very exciting for me. Every time my dad was just like watching, and I was getting to see him put that work in many hours. He also he would leave me at the house because some of his trainings just it wasn't the environment for me at the time because I was really young. So whenever my dad would come back, I'd always see he was really tired, but hey, he would nap up, spend some time with us, and then get back to business because he was go go go. He did a lot of things to prepare his spirit, body, and being for going into battle and uh, performing and putting food on the table for the family and always providing. So it was a blessing and an honor to see my dad put in hard work, and not only that, just he would make time and be that dad for us during that camp. A lot of fighters they struggle. They go out and out of state or out of the country to prepare for the camp, so they're away from their family. So it was really a blessing from God to at least have my dad around when he was, and he tried to make a lot of time for us. So thank you, Dad.
Yeah, awesome to hear. Now, Cung, what's it like watching your son compete, at these levels? It can't be easy. It must be hard on the anxiety seeing your son compete.
Man, I mean, right, I cut the sides, but you'll see a lot more gray white hair, it's definitely, like for me, you get pumped up. Like you're like, oh, let's go. But like when it's Anthony, I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'm not in there, I don't have control. And then, the great thing is a lot of times I'm like, hey, these point Muay Thai, they don't allow knockouts, son. You're going to knock them out. You're going to continue to strike hard, and your output's too crazy. I think you gotta just try to get a little bit more time, get some more experience out there, or lose the match, because they try to keep it strict. But there's some matches that
Going at it.
They let the other guy go, and then I'm on Anthony. This is not boxing. We are kickboxing. Let's go. Do your stuff. And Anthony turns it up, and like I feel like in the gym, right? My old student Rudy, he's got a great team, but all those guys, I don't know what it is. They have one speed with each other. And when I brought Anthony in, he was like 14 years old, and he was still young. But I said, Anthony, you sure you want to be a fighter? And then he's like, yeah, I want to be a fighter. I said, you're going to get your ass kicked today, okay? And then he's all, what do you mean? I said, I want you to fight all the tough guys, and I'm going to tell every single one of them to beat you up, because this is how we know if you truly want to be a fighter. And he's all, oh, okay. And I said, okay, you ready for this? And I said, go with him. And these guys are like Sean, who's like at the time he was undefeated. There was with Edwin. He's fought for Bellator twice.
Luna.
Like Luna and some bigger guys, right? And like in a way, I let it go the first day, and trust me, Anthony got his butt whooped. When we drove home, I remember buying 2 bags of big ice, threw it in the ice bath. I put him in the tub, and I'm all, you sure you want to be a pro fighter? And he's all, yeah, Dad, I do. And I said, okay, we can take the rest of the week off. He's all, no, because sparring was every other day. So he's all, I want to go back to sparring. I said, okay. So, he goes back to sparring. I said, okay, guys, lighten up on him. He's still banged up. They go and beat on him again. I say, hey, I'm gonna have to get in there because I'm getting pissed off. So, and I held controlled anger a little bit. And one day, I think there's this one guy. He's like
175.
He's about 175. He kneed Anthony really bad, and Anthony was throwing up in the garbage can. Right. I went out in the car. I mean, I haven't trained for months and months, and because my focus has been on just his training. But I went in there, and
guys, left and right.
I mean, it didn't feel good, because I thought, oh man, I felt bad for that dude. Just going down, and I spinning back kick. Some guy flew into the bag, and I'm like, oh, well, get up, come on, hey, I'm only gonna go as hard as you go. And I was cracking them hard. I was banging them up. I was like, yeah, I'm getting tired, but let's go one more. Let's go. And then Sean in there, he kicks really hard, and
Killed him with a toe kick.
He was crushing Anthony with it. And then I went in there. I said, okay, I'm not going to hit you with my shin. I'm going to hit you with my toes. And I toe kicked him, and it went. I had that vendetta. I was ready. Hey, Rudy, where's Rudy at? I was ready to bring him in too. But I had to calm down, because he's learning, and then after that, all the guys started giving Anthony a little bit more respect, because I always have my gear in the car, and I always bring my mouthpiece on, because something goes down there and they're trying to hurt him, I'll go in there and I'll fix it like right then and there, So that's just how I just got upset, because there were so many sessions. I'm like, hey, man, he's like 14 years old. You guys are like men. You guys are beating up on this 14, then 15. But then when he was 16, he started edging them. he started doing better. So, it's been a wild ride for us, in the spiritual realm, in the physical
Yeah,
world. And, we don't know what to expect. Tomorrow's not promised. So we just take it
absolutely.
a day, day by day, and then, and just, continue to, put God first, and then, make sure, the family's taken care of, and then, do God's will. Because, I mean, if you don't realize it, we're living in Revelations. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys follow God or Jesus or any other religion, but there should only be one God. And, the devil is a great deceiver, and he's been the deceiver since the beginning of time. That's why there are 4,000 religions. So, you know,
Do you, yeah, so that actually ties to my next question for both of you guys, in fact, because obviously, with fighting and you guys being, religious and Christian as well, do you feel like there's a lot of duality, in yourself? Because, obviously Christianity promotes love, peace, harmony, and you're going out there and, essentially trying to knock someone out unconscious. Do you feel like there's a little bit of duality, generally speaking, or does it go hand in hand? If you guys can kind of explain that, really.
here's the thing, right? I get a lot of this question. Oh, well, what God says about punching someone's face. I totally understand. I
Yeah,
understand that, but at a young age, when I grew up, my grandfather kept me very, faithful, but he only kept me faithful to, God Almighty, and I didn't know Jesus Christ that well. I just knew Jesus Christ was the Son of God, but I didn't realize that until I married my wife, Sunshine, and then we really like got behind the Bible and studied it, and she explained to me, about Jesus and all the things that he did, and when for me, I didn't really open the Bible, and also my mom. So when I opened up the Bible, I'm like, wow. When God said, "Let there be light," there was light. And when God says, the Word will become everything that He says comes true. So, um, from that point, I realized, I started studying the stories, and I said, God has His warriors too. His warriors, like King David. King David defeated Goliath. That's David Goliath, the story of David and Goliath. Then, and God will lead us, guide us, take it one day at a time. And Anthony is so, his faith is so strong. He says, if God doesn't want me to fight, then I won't fight. So that's how we have to live. And a fight comes along, and look how everything's happening. Scott Coker, one day at a time.
sorry, Con, can you just say that last bit again? I think we just got cut off, just like the last 15 seconds.
Oh, sorry. So I was just saying, with with us, Anthony realizes that, if, tomorrow doesn't happen, or if God doesn't want him to fight, he understands that, and so he puts it in God's hands. And what we said is, we take it day by day. And as you see, Scott Coker really likes the way he fights, and, said, the next either card that, he has in California, or, a big one is, if we go to Jerusalem and fight over there, then
Oh,
we're all
wow.
in. So,
That's
we'll see
huge.
what happens. But right now, we're just gonna focus on making sure Anthony gets better, and
Yeah.
working on all his well rounding his game. His stand up is dynamite. His takedown defense is really good. His wrestling's pretty good. And jujitsu, we're always working. So, I think, we just put it in God's hands, and everything else will follow.
Absolutely. I've got another question on faith as well. Well, essentially for both of you guys as well. So I saw live where you mentioned this is Kong actually as well. So you mentioned that accepting God and Jesus is a lot more powerful when you're an adult as opposed to when you're a child. Do you have a specific time that you could think of where you accepted Christ as an adult, and what scenario kind of spurred you to do that as well?
Well, see, when you're a child, as everyone know, like, yeah, even when Anthony was younger, he'll say, if I say, "Hey, let's go to church," he's going to go to church, right? I mean, he's got his own free will. He decides, he makes his choices, and those choices, everyone's choices, determines what happens to their soul. So God gives us free will to make our choices, and the choices that we make will determine what happens to our soul. So uh, I think that live feed, when you, that's what I mean. The spiritual realm directly connects to the physical world. So for some reason, my Wi-Fi wasn't working that good. So the devil hopes that because the Wi-Fi is not working good, you guys can't hear me. So it's like every time I talk about God, the devil doesn't want people to hear about what I have to say about God. So it always does these things. But I when I got rebaptized, about it was 2 or 3 years ago. That's when I truly accepted Jesus Christ, and we made it a big thing for our family, where we all, like, my wife, mother-in-law came out, and then first, my wife baptized me, then I baptized her, then I baptized my son, then I baptized my mother-in-law. So, and from that point, because you're an adult, or Anthony already had free will, and he was able to accept Jesus on his own by saying it, on his own, instead of a little kid who doesn't know, you know, um, who Jesus truly is. And then you get baptized, even though you get baptized when you're an adult, or when you're at that age to accept. It's much more powerful, and then it's all about. So let's talk about what you just asked, right? Basically, I truly accepted God and Jesus when I got rebaptized again. And it's all about being baptized. I mean, a lot of parents baptize their kids when they're young, but a lot of times the kids don't truly understand who God Almighty is, or who Jesus Christ is. It all depends on the parents. And then so when I accepted Jesus Christ again, when I got baptized, we did everything, like it was a big family thing for us. And like, my wife baptized me first, and then I turned around and I baptized every single, my wife, my son, and my mother-in-law. So we all accepted Jesus Christ, with our own words, instead of when we're younger. I can't remember what I even said when I was younger, when I got baptized, nor Anthony, right? So it's more intimate, and it's more of a tight
Yeah.
bonding between you and the Father when you accept His Son, and you repent all your sins that you know about. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how do you feel like in terms of your faith? Yeah, does it help you? I mean, I personally, you've seen countless examples of faith, yeah, helping fighters. You've had it. I think the most famous one is probably Jon Jones. He always
yeah.
thanks Jesus after every fight that he's won, and he's undefeated for a reason. Like he's unbelievable talent. Um, do you feel like with being that faithful, it gives you that extra power? Also, I just realized, I've just looked earlier. Jon Jones follows you as well. Like, are you guys friends, or how do you know? How do you know guys know each other as well?
Well, we both fought for UFC, and I came across him, really nice guy, and then you know um, I followed him first, and then he followed me back. So I think, with all the messages, and maybe, you know it's something that he listened to. I don't know what it is, but I'm not even worried about followers now. Because during these times, when you talk about God and Jesus, we get attacked a lot. And one post on my Facebook, I got a lot of followers, and during this time, um, like, the Father let my account, which has only had 1.1 million followers, and during that time there was a 27 million, like, my account reached 27 million, right? So we took that as a sign,
Wow.
because 27, there's 27 books in the New Testament, right? There's 39 books in the Old Testament, right? So if you guys don't know about this, what is 39 books kind of represents? Well, it represents Jesus Christ taking 39 stripes for us. That, right? 40 that would kill a man, but he took 39 stripes for us. That's the that's the Old Testament. That's God's word, Genesis. And in the New Testament, there's 27 books. See, and then that's how the Father talks to us through numbers, through songs, through music, through just like beautiful days, through asking Him in Jesus Christ's name. Like we're spending time in Vegas right now. We're doing a little documentary on my life, and then when we came here, it was like super hot. You can fry a egg in a frying pan, and we like our AC went down after the second day, and I literally, Father, can you cool things down, send some rain our way or something? And what do you know? I have video of a storm in Vegas right over our block.
I saw that.
Rained us out like literally. It was wild. So
yeah,
that's the relationship, and it cooled down. And then the next day, later on the day, we got our AC back up.
Yeah. I think I saw that live as well. I think your wife mentioned also that Vegas doesn't even get that much rain. It just started pouring down all of a sudden. So
no, like it's only average of 5 inches of rain. We probably had 5 inches that day. So yeah.
Hey, Cung, let me shoot you a question here. I was talking with a fighter a while back, Asa 10 Pow. He's in kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA. And I was asking about how he got started. And he said the first fight he ever saw was at a Nick Screama tournament when you fought Jason Yee. And he said this was the most important fight of this man's life. What do you recall from this 1997 tournament?
I just remember I brought a team over there, and it was kind of like the West Coast versus the East Coast. And it was really tough for me because I wasn't able to coach my fighters. I was in the back warming up. I was the main event against Jason Yee, and I just said my little prayer. Hopefully all my students perform well, and it's God's will. And then I just prepared for myself, and I went out there and put on a clinic, and I didn't realize, that someone saw the fight, and it helped them. So these things it's just like little gifts that God gives me through you guys telling me, what some of my fights have helped, people and impact their lives. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it changes life. He said seeing a guy like that, fighting like that. And that was it for him. Now he's a career fighter. Looking 5 years into the future, speaking of career fighting, where do you folks hope to be? What are you predicting the future holds, looking a little bit, maybe 5 years ahead here?
If we're still here, we're sending souls to Jesus Christ, and Anthony's of course, you see, he's talking about planting seeds. He's not worried about I'll jump in on this for him. Hopefully he'd be wearing a couple belts.
I've got one final question, and this is for Anthony. We haven't forgot you, Anthony. Yeah, one final question. How does it feel to kind of live up to the legend of Cung Le? Like, is that a lot of pressure? Or is that something you're okay with?
It's definitely it's big shoes to fill. I love the pressure. I thrive in it, and I'm gonna continue to let God guide me in everything I do. And I know He's gonna guide me to the right. He's already put me on the right path. So we'll see what time tells.
That's great.
Awesome stuff. Last word goes to you folks. You talk us on out of here. We appreciate your time, but shout out who you need to shout out. Thank who you need to thank. The next minute goes to you folks.
Well, first of all, just want to say thank you for getting us on your show.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for letting us.
Thank you. We should be thanking you, Cung.
Talk about God, because I think right now the world truly needs God and Jesus, and I hope after this you guys will start cracking open that Bible, because the Bible is unraveling right in front of our eyes. Of course, no one knows the time or hour when Jesus will come, but here's the thing: a lot of people believe there's going to be a rapture. You guys heard about the rapture, right? You guys know what the rapture is. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to break the bad news for everyone. I don't see that there's gonna be a rapture. because the Father has already told me we are living in tribulations. So there's 7-year tribulations in the Bible. But why would God take any of his children who faithfully follows him during the toughest time? He didn't let Jesus go. And even Jesus, when Jesus was praying to him, says, can this be passed? Like what he's about to go through. And the Father, and that's when Jesus knew. The Father said, no. And so Jesus says, your will shall be done. And if you study this whole thing is all about Adam and Eve. It all comes back to Adam and Eve. While, science tries to say certain things about, hey, man came from primates or whatever it is. No, the Adam and Eve lived in the cave of treasures for 930 years. They didn't come down from the mountain because they didn't want to be part of the world, because it was that much better in heaven, in the garden. And when you truly study all the books and understand, like the book of Enoch and the sacred texts of Adam and Eve, you will understand why God is being so merciful. And when people say, oh, HARP is what's controlling the weather, come on. Man created HARP and God created man. And God spent actually 1 day in heaven, which is 1,000 years here, to create man. So he's vested and he wants man to succeed. And I'm telling you guys, God is coming back soon, because even Jesus says, when you see me, you will see God. When you see God, you will see me. In his own words, but that's what, when he said that, that's what I see. So God and Jesus, remember, God is 7 spirits, and God created Adam with seven pieces, parts of his spirits. Then he went to the 4 corners and grabbed and gathered something from the earth, and then he finished Adam off with a breath. So 7 of his spirits, the intelligence of an angels, and I mean, like, God really put this into man, and that's what the government and the elites, they don't want you to know, is God has big plans for us. But now, during this world, during this time, it's just get through the narrow gates, and your riches are in heaven. That's truly about what the Bible is. It's God's coming soon for his children. And he loves everyone the same, but here's the thing. There's a lot of people that don't seek God. And there's a lot of people who say they know God, but they truly don't know God. And there's a lot of people who say they know Jesus, but they don't truly know Jesus. And that's because of the devil. The devil's the great deceiver, and the devil's been deceiving mankind since the beginning of time. And even Jesus says the devil's been a murderer since the beginning of time. And when I heard that, I'm like, who did the devil murder since the beginning of time? Well, when you truly study about it, the devil murdered Adam and Eve many times. So as you can see, there's 72 countries that worship, the devil. And if you look into there's even on CIA.gov, there's 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. You read that documentary, their whole goal is to push people away from God and Jesus. So there's only one God, and there's the devil, and the devil created all these other religions. We're going through all the like different like books that the Father's sending us. My wife's studying right now. Like, I can't wait to jump on that. But my wife said that Jesus went around. There was no like for 17 years, no one recorded that much documents of him, but whatever they recorded, we're reading right now. And he taught the monks, he taught everyone, and he showed everyone during those times how deep the knowledge is. And even at one point, Buddha says, don't worship me, worship the Father. So, the world's about to wake up, and hopefully they wake up already believing in God and Jesus. So that's all we can say,
Thank you guys so much for your time. It was incredibly informative, and I'll definitely look that up for sure. Thank
All
you,
right,
guys.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.